3D printers are amazing. I've had one for years and it's helped me prototype and build the open source response time tool and the open source latency testing tool. I've designed and built a plumbing fitting to fix my washing machine sucking back dirty water, and I designed a tool that lets me tighten my G933 racing wheel to my desk because the plastic knobs that they've included are useless. This time though, I thought I would turn my eye to gaming gadgets. It turns out that there are a load of cool and downright useful things that you can print to make your gaming experience better. I've printed a few here, but mostly thanks to my Elgato Mars being a fairly small print volume, I have even more suggestions that you might fancy printing yourself. The first one is becoming less and less relevant over time, especially with the introduction of wireless gaming mice, but if you're still rocking a wired gaming mouse, you might like a mouse bungee. The one I've printed is really cool. It screws into your desk, although I'm sure that some double-sided tape on the bottom would do just fine. You lay the cable in one of the two slots and then screw the cap on top as loose or as tight as you want to. That will keep the cable steady and stop it from getting, snagged on the stuff down at the back of your desk. This one is made by Das Mia on Printables, and all of these items, and even the ones that I can't print, will be linked in the description if you want to check them out. Now, if this isn't quite your style and you can opt for a more conventional one instead, I found this one by AIS on Thingiverse. Sadly, this won't fit in the print volume on my Elegoo Mars, but it looks like it might even have a bit of compliance built in for a bit of spring for the cable. If you're all in on wireless peripherals, maybe a taste of flair on your keyboard is what you're after. There are a myriad of Cherry MX and actually other style keycaps across the web that you could print out. A resin printer is probably the best bet for this one, as you get a wonderfully smooth finish straight out the printer. My choice of stylish keycap is this Togepi by Daphne on Thanks. It is ridiculously cute, and if you give it a careful paint job, you might even be able to make it look like the real thing. Of course, there are plenty more, including this low poly Bulbasaur, which I sadly don't think is a watertight model, meaning that it won't print out without at least some modifications. If you just need some replacement keycaps and don't care for shine through, you can print yourself any style you fancy. I printed this standard Cherry MX cap, but there's plenty of profiles available. And yes, they both do fit straight on the switches. The next one is for someone with a cleaner setup than I. This is a controller stand for, in this case, an Xbox style controller, although I have a Stadia controller, so really messing things up there. Now, there are actually a load of different controller stands. Some dual controller stands, some single like this one. I picked this Xbox branded one from Bamingo Design 3D on Thangs. But there are literally hundreds of different designs, some even smaller and compact, some even more specific to the type of controller. There are loads to choose from, and they seem to work really well. If stands are of interest, you might be surprised to find out that there are a bunch of laptop stands too. Now, I couldn't fit these on my printer, but this hexagonal design from Mateo on Thangs looks amazing. It's 4 pieces which clip together and hold apparently even hefty machines aloft. If you haven't seen my video testing how much performance you can gain by using a laptop stand, definitely check that out in the cards above. Again, there are plenty of designs if this one isn't quite for you, maybe doesn't fit on your printer, or you just want something a little bit different. Or if you'd rather print out a stand for your headphones, again, there are endless options. None of these fit on my tiny printer, and yes, I really want a bigger resin printer, but this screw one caught my eye from S Campo on Thanks. You just clamp it to the edge of your desk and screw it down, and it has a nice little curve to support your headphones nicely without causing excessive wear. There are plenty of other styles, including ones that are similar to this actually really nice wooden one that I already have and use for my headphone reviews, but the compact sort of side of the desk one looks great to me. Something that might surprise you is that people definitely more talented than me have actually designed full-blown mouse shells. some replicas of existing products like this MX Vertical, and some custom ones like this Revan one, which uses the guts of a Glorious Model O wireless but ends up being a 55-gram mouse. This is frankly amazing. Being able to replace, customize, and upgrade something as crucial as your mouse and mouse shell is really, really cool. Now, the last one is one that would actually work for pretty much anyone. It's just a little bit more involved than just downloading a file and slicing it for your printer, but it is a really cool thing to have around. It would also likely work better with a 2-color FDM printer, but since I have a resin printer, I've done it a little differently. I've also had to shrink it a little to fit it on my printer, but in short, this is a Wi-Fi QR code coaster. If you print one of these out, you have a physical object that you can show to guests to let them connect, and then it serves double duty as a functional item too. Now, because I only have a black resin printer, or at least black resin to print with, I've sprayed some white spray paint down into the valleys and then tried to badly wipe off the excess so that it gives it enough contrast to be able to scan. And it does scan just fine. Now, of course, this isn't my Wi-Fi network. That would be foolhardy of me, but let me show you how to make one for your network. First, you'll need to generate a Wi-Fi QR code. I'll link to the site that I used in the description for you. Download the image as an SVG and then open up your CAD software of choice. I use Fusion 360, which is, at least at the time of filming, still free for personal use. You want to import the SVG, and then this comes the slightly tedious bit of selecting all of the white space, including some of the annoying to hard to find ones. It doesn't take all that long really. I actually recreated it to do this recording you're seeing, and it only took around 2 minutes of me clicking to get it all sorted. I checked that it still scanned just with the ones that I'd selected, and then I extruded them by 5mm upwards. I added a 5mm wide offset border around the QR code and then extruded that by 10mm, and I added another sketch on the bottom and extruded that by 5mm. I also added some filleted corners to make it look just a little bit nicer, and that's pretty much it. Send it to your printer and get it made. So that's all the stuff that I found and could fit on my printer, but if you've designed or just printed or whatever else, you've seen something that's really cool, I'd love to hear about that in the comments down below. I'd also love to hear your thoughts on the models that I've talked about here, and even if you don't have a 3D printer, which one of these would you want to print first? If you want to see more videos like this one, then you can hit the subscribe button and turn on the bell notification icon. You can check out plenty of other videos on the end cards. Also, if anyone's interested in seeing a bit of a guide on how to do resin printing, feel free to let me know in the comments because that might be of interest as well. But otherwise, that's kind of it. Like I said, I'll link to all of these in the description. If you want to support the channel, there's loads of links in the description through YouTube, Patreon, pick up a hoodie or t-shirt like this one. And of course, if you want to pick up an open source response time or latency tool, then you can check out osrtt.com as well. Otherwise, that's pretty much it. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. We'll see you on the next video.